Temperance. The thin cord dug into Emilia's waist, and the 15-year-old girl had to make a superhuman mental effort not to place her hands on her waist and pull at it. Her grandmother gave her a murderous look every time she saw her do it, and that day she didn't want to tempt her luck. The cord usually didn't bother her, but that afternoon it was intensely hot. Due to the visit of Miguel's parents, Susanna's fiancé, all the women in the house were dressed in their most elegant and suffocating gowns. In front of Emilia were the most exquisite sweets that she had made with the help of the cook, Esperanza. These were the sweets she was allowed to make but not eat. Not if she wanted to defy her grandmother's wrath or the pressure of the cord around her waist. Every time sweets were served in the house, she could almost feel the strike of her grandmother's cane. The impact had been quick and painful when, at the age of 4, one afternoon during tea, she tried to grab a chocolate cookie. Mrs. Delia had looked at her with a severe expression until Emilia, with tears in her eyes, placed her hands on her lap. The scene that unfolded that Sunday was typical in the Sterling household. At the head of the table always sat Grandma Delia, the matriarch. She wore black with a tightly closed white collar, and looking at it, Emilia could feel how it almost choked her grandmother. But Emilia had never seen the first button of her grandmother's shirt undone, or seen the woman pulling at the collar. To the right of Delia sat her only daughter-in-law, the widow of her son, Adolfo. Wilhelmina could not have been more opposite to her mother-in-law. Her clothes always looked wrinkled and untidy if it hadn't been for the maid her mother-in-law had assigned her. Emilia's older sister, Susanna, was Grandma's clear favourite. Always elegant and polite, she had earned maximum approval by attracting the interest of the son of the wealthiest family in the area. Abigail, the youngest of the family, sat next to Susanna. Since she was very young, she had shown a strong religious inclination, and it was only a matter of time before she went to live in a convent. Emilia was her grandmother's greatest frustration. Apparently, even as a baby, she drank too much breast milk and was chubby. When her mother told the story of how her father loved to tickle her chubby legs, her eyes clouded with an unreadable expression, a mix of joy and pain. Her grandmother, on the other hand, hated that story, and hated even more seeing the expression Emilia had when she looked at the sweet pastries. The only reason they were serving sweets that day was to entertain the guests. Her grandmother didn't believe that willpower alone was enough to maintain one's figure. It wasn't enough to not serve sweets and not eat them. Her granddaughters should always carry with them a reminder of how important self-control and temperance were. The day Emilia got her first period, Grandma Delia tied the cord around her waist, and she still wore it to this day. As her grandmother had explained to her, the cord represented her aspirations. It marked the boundaries within which she had to stay if she wanted to lead a full and acceptable life. Emilia had learned from her mother that it wasn't worth arguing with her grandmother. Her sisters never seemed to feel the need to rebel against the great lady. But when her mother saw the frustration on Emilia's face, she felt pity for her middle daughter. Grandma Delia's presence could be suffocating in the family home. The imposing woman loved to control the lives of everyone around her. Emilia's mother had taught her that if she wanted to stay away from the fury and strict rules of her grandmother, the best place to hide was the kitchen. There, Emilia had an ally in the cook Esperanza. She taught her all the recipes that she prepared in her kitchen. The aroma of vanilla, chocolate, and cinnamon stayed with Emilia during the long hours of catechism that her grandmother taught. Esperanza had also taught Emilia what to eat to satisfy her cravings for sweets without consuming pastries. The family home was oppressive not only for Emilia. Her mother also felt the need to escape from the watchful eye of her mother-in-law. Taking long walks in the park surrounding the house was an activity that the great lady approved of. Therefore, Emilia and her mother spent hours enjoying the greenery and splendour of nature. Emilia's life progressed straight and divided between her grandmother Delia's rigid universe, the overflowing and pleasurable world of the delights prepared by the cook Esperanza, and the magic that nature offered. It was an acceptable balance for the most part, but that changed. As Grandma Delia's health began to decline, her controlling grip over her family grew tighter and tighter. Proud of the successful marriage she had arranged for Susanna and Abigail's religious vocation, all her attention turned to Emilia. The more her grandmother prayed with her and obsessed over her future, the more comfort Emilia found in hiding in the kitchen and taking walks in the park with her mother. Being the only one left in the house, all of Grandma Delia's attention was focused on Emilia and her mission to find a husband for her. The more her grandmother insisted on the idea, the more frequent Emilia's visits to the kitchen and the park became. But before Emilia had the chance to meet any of the long list of suitors her grandmother had selected for her, tragedy struck her life. Grandma Delia died suddenly after choking on a chocolate bonbon. Together with her sisters and her mother, Emilia mourned her grandmother's death. The heavy black clothes made the cord dig even deeper into her skin. Her future was now uncertain. Living under her grandmother's control, she had an assured future, as long as she did what she was told. Now she was a young woman of marriageable age without fortune, and no one to answer for her. Her only hope was that her grandmother had left her a worthy dowry in her will. From beyond the grave, the woman still had control over her life. The day of the will reading, the cord around Emilia's waist felt tighter than ever. The sweat that accumulated beneath it made every chafing even more painful. Her mother and sisters looked so solemn that Emilia felt completely out of place. The commitment, which Emilia had imagined would be long and tedious, was surprisingly short and direct. Her grandmother had divided her immense fortune into 4 equal parts, one for her mother, one for Susanna, one for Abigail, and one for Emilia. No conditions, no obligation of marriage, no man who had to manage it, directly for them. It was a fairly recent novelty that women could have money in their name, and the surprise was reflected on the lawyer's face. The 4 women looked at each other in astonishment, unable to believe what they had just heard. The surprise and emotion were so overwhelming that Emilia took a deep breath, and the cord that had been restraining and tightening her waist broke in half. No one but her noticed, but the sensation made her smile even wider. When Emilia finally let out the air she had accumulated in her lungs, a laugh escaped with it. She covered her face with embarrassment and suppressed a second laugh. In her mind, she saw it very clearly. The first thing she would buy with the money from her inheritance would be a box of chocolates.